Another white asshole deciding what I get to do, how I get to do it. He took my daughter from me. I'll never be free of this story from him.
Back in 2016, for the game Quantum Break, there was a live-action teaser trailer called Return, which showcased the events of Alan Wake 2, where two FBI agents, Saga Anderson and Alex Casey, played by Mala Malamavara, and Mr. Max Payne himself, Sam Lake, seem to be hunting down Alan. There's also a December 2015 Twitter post by Sam showcasing the two, a screen cap from the trailer. Since Quantum Break was released in April the following year, this was to be at least half a year that Mala was decided upon. Since Alan Wake 2 took 13 years to make and was released in October of 2023, and there's evidence of Saga being played by a white actress in 2015, that means, for at least 5 years, since 2010, the original design of Saga was meant to be a white character. Enter Sweet Baby Inc. Now, we don't know when Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in the process, and this game did take 13 years to make, but at least 8 years ago, Saga was white. But it seems director Sam Lake and game director Kyle Rowley were listening to Kim Belair. From an interview with GameDeveloper.com in November 2023, Lake says, "But we understand representation, and we take that very seriously. We do take our characters and stories very seriously, all in all, but a lot of thought and dedication especially went into Saga. This means that, for whatever reason, Sam Lake is very much concerned with representation in video games, but apparently not when he originally created Alan Wake 2 and the Return trailer. So since Sam is such a champion of representation, it's natural he'd want to consult with Sweet Baby Inc.'s Kim Belair to refine character voice and story arc. Mala got the boot, and Melanie Liburd got the hire. We just don't know when. I think that it took us a long time to find Saga," said Rowley on the character. "It was an interesting process. We had an idea in our head on what that character could be, but then as the character evolves over time, being open to changing her based on input from the actors and from external sources really opened things up for us."
Another white asshole.
Was Mala not giving enough creative input? Was she even supposed to, being hired on as an actor? Did Sam want Mala to give more feedback? So whether Sam, Mr. Representation Lake, wanted to have a black woman lead or Kim Belair recommended it, it's unclear. But what is clear is Sweet Baby Inc. was a direct influence. After all, Sam paid for a consulting job. He's got to get something out of it. When it came to making Saga Anderson, it was about ensuring that one of the leads, a person of color who was core to the story, had a clear role that complements Alan's side, but also works independently as its own experience. That's odd, since her first iteration was a white lady, and I don't know how having a person of color has anything to do with working independently of its own experience from Alan. How do you revolve a story around melanin? Did Saga have very southern upbringing, or was she Caribbean, or African, or Indian? What exactly about her? What does melanin have to do with any of that? What cultural values impact the story in Saga's experience? We are referring to present-day America, after all, of professional FBI agents who are supposedly the best of the best. What does race have to do with that? Kyle Rowley then mentions the devs were referring to Seven, Silence of the Lambs, and True Detective as references. Now, I can't really see the connection here with an impulsive homicide detective and a disillusioned police officer. And then there's Clarice Sterling and Jack Crawford. They're both FBI, still very different characters. And as for True Detective, it's probably the fourth season. I mean, probably. Saga also happens to be a mother trying to balance her family life and her career while facing supernatural threats as well. And it's an interesting dynamic because it immediately gives Saga, an outsider, in many ways, an immediate pull into the larger story. Here are some stats for single mothers in America. It seems to me single white mothers are in the minority, but we can't talk about that representation. Let's instead use the stereotype of single black mothers who are in the majority. There we go. That gives a much more interesting dynamic and totally doesn't make Saga a token black woman. A common complaint for the portrayal of POC characters in media is that creatives tend to tokenize characters of color to fit certain plot points and themes. This leads to moments where characters of diverse backgrounds lack agency and whose stories only serve to benefit another.
Another white asshole.
But Saga's piece of the story is crafted with a level of insight and respect for her place in it and for the agency she does have. This presents her as a character that's not a side story, but a compelling main arc on its own that hits at emotional chords unique to her story, and that is the intention by the developers at Remedy. Considering the concept of Alan Wake 2 is Alan's trapped in a loop where your choices don't really matter, how does Saga have player agency, especially due to her being black? And she's a main character. So of course she's not a side character with a side story. She's a focus. But that focus is one of tokenization and I'm a black mommy who wants to save her daughter from the evil white man who killed her.
And I'm a character in the story.
Not just a character. The hero.
Okay, a hero. In any case, I've been through hell to be here. And this is my life. It feels earned to me that I rise above the story and be there to create the ending.
Yes. That's what we're doing. Here, now. We're figuring out the ending I need to write.
They fired the original actress, hired Sweet Baby Inc. to justify blackwashing her, gave her a token single motherhood status, and pretty much made that her only deep background, or that she's such a workaholic she can't be with her kid. Oh, and her major motivation is her kid. Here's a question. Guess who she's calling in this screenshot? She's a stereotypical single black mom in America. Wow. Congrats, Sam. All that thought over 13 years just to reduce your second main character to a stereotype. Whether you blame Sweet Baby or not, they clearly had an influence in this, and it puts an otherwise normal supernatural horror story into a racial one.
Another white asshole deciding what I get to do, how I get to do it. He took my daughter from me. I'll never be free of this story from him. He used her.